Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm a little bit late getting my filming done, so apologies if you were waiting for me at 1 o'clock on YouTube. It's going to be just a little bit longer. But I'm making a card with a stamp set that I've only just bought from the mini catalogue. And it's the Beautiful Moments set. And the reason I bought it was this one image here. My sister and I grew up in the UK, about 20 minutes away from the seaside, and most weekends or holidays would find us at the beach with our little buckets looking for shells and stones, making little sandcastles and really having a good time. And I just have one sister. She's older than I am, and she's looked after me forever. If ever I need anything, she's there for me. And so this is a card for her. Now I'm also using the Sia Silhouette paper, and this is a set of quite bright, vibrant papers, and I wasn't sure when I bought it that I was going to use much of it, and I haven't used a lot of it yet, but I did make a card for my teenage nephew, and really I fell in love with those bright colours. And so today's card is going to use a piece of it as well. And I chose this piece because this reminded me of the sea. And the colours were ones that I wanted to work with. There is another piece that's kind of seasidey themed with this blue and white here. That's a little bit like sort of waves and things. But I didn't want to use that one. I wanted one that had some other colours. And I have pre-cut just a few things for today's video, otherwise it would take a long time. So my card is just 5.5 inches by 12, and I've chosen a little bit thicker paper because it's not going to have a cardboard backing. If you choose some of the thinner paper, you'll find that it might crack when you score it and try to fold it. So I've chosen this one just because it's a little bit thicker. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it, and when you decide which way you want the paper, I want this at my top left. So here's my example piece. I want this piece here, and I want the rest of it to be that backing paper. So when you do your scoring, put the piece that you want here facing you. Okay, now. Sorry, I just dropped a piece of paper. Okay, so I'm going to score this, and I'm going to score at 1 3/4. So I'm just going to line it up, and then I've got my score blade ready. I'm not going to go backwards and forwards lots of times. I'm just going to lightly go forwards and hope that that's enough. And then I'm going to score it at 4 3/4. Again, I'm only doing that lightly. And I'm just going to extend this because my next score has to be at 7 3/4. Okay, and then let's pop that away. Now, you can't actually see where the score lines are, but I can just feel them on the back. And so this one, I know I want this one to be at the front. I'm going to fold that one under and then turn the whole thing over. And so that's going to be my front piece. And then I'm just going to find where the other scores are. Fold that one that way. And then fold that one this way. And it sort of makes, sort of a bit of a elongated Z fold or an M fold, but with one long side. Okay. Now, this little piece here, this is what I want it to be for people to be able to see, because it sort of looked like the waves and the white foam that's made by the waves when they're rolling in. So that's the little piece that I wanted at either the top corner or the bottom corner, but the way it was cut meant it had to be at the top corner. Okay, so that's our base for the card. Now the rest of the pieces, I've been already and cut them out, and what I was using were our stitched rectangle framelits and the stitched circle ones, and I've already cut them out in white. So what I did was I just found 2 nesting rectangles that I felt were big enough for the image and not too big that they overpowered the card. So I've already cut this one out in the white, and then the next size I cut in the Mossy Meadow because that's one of the pieces, one of the colours on the piece of DSP. Okay, I'm just going to put a little piece of paper down there as well. And I've already got the stamps mounted, and I'm going to stamp in Smoky Slate. So, let's just check I've got ink on all that. Okay, and because I've already cut the paper out, I sort of know where my images can be and where I want them to be. Oops, that just won't stay on the paper. There we go. And I just want the little girls to be nearly at the bottom, but not quite at the bottom. I want a little bit of room to be able to do some sand or something down here. Okay, and then the next one I've got is, where are they? Here. Just these little 2 birds. And again, I'm going to stamp those in grey. And I just want them to be up here in the sky. There. While we're stamping, I'm going to do the rest of it. So let me just move that. And what I've also got from the circles are 2 that are nested. And I've already cut those out as well. And again, I've cut one in the white, one in the Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to do another little image on here. And what I've chosen is the sentiment that says thinking of you. And let's ink that up. And I just want that sort of to be in the centre. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, a little bit higher than the centre. It's only just a little sentiment. And then I've taken this little grass piece, but I'm actually going to make it so that it's not grass, so that it's a flower. I want it to look like lilac, not lilac, heather, or even lavender. So, and then what I'm going to do is just put some of this across the bottom. I don't want it to be too even or anything, so that's why, you know, I've sort of stamped off a little bit with it. And then I'm going to put the little birds back on, just so that that ties in with the front of the card. There. And now it's time to colour. I'm going to colour with my blends, but this would colour in really nicely if you had the watercolour pencils, or you could use an aqua painter and ink pad or refills. I'm not doing terribly careful colouring. I've got the Highland Heather blend and I'm just sort of touching over. I'm not filling in all of the flower. It is just to give an impression of a little bit of colour. Just to make it look pretty on the inside. Okay, you see, that's all I'm doing, quite a rushed little picture. And then I'm going to colour the little girls in too. And when we were together, my sister and I always had the same little buckets. And I remember one was red, like a sort of a pinky red. And so that's why I'm just colouring one of them in that. And the other one was blue. So they're going to be our buckets. And then let's find a colour for hair. What's this? Light crumb cake. It wasn't really light crumb cake, our hair. So I'm going to go with dark crumb cake. And then I'm going to put a couple of other little colours in it as well. I might put a little bit of the light in, actually. That might look like the sun shines on us. And I'm going to put a little bit of bronze in as well. And then let's get that light one again, just go over that. What did that say? Yep, like crumb cake. Do you know, I do have trouble reading these. I think it's the white on the black. I find it quite hard to see. I think I'm going to put like a little sticker on them or something. So it's not that my eyes are really old and I can't see anything. It's just I can't see that writing. And then what have I got here? The dark petal pink. You could use the ivory for skin, but I didn't want it to look too much like our hair. So I've gone with the light petal pink instead. And again, I'm not really taking a long time to colour. I just want it to look a bit more like a watercolour picture where things aren't, you know, it's not a photograph. It's just a semblance of colour here. Okay. And then we always had the same colour dresses on as we were younger, or the same little coats, or you know, hats and mitts. So I'm going to do, just with this So Saffron, I'm just going to go over and give us both dresses. And a lot of the time my mum made our dresses, so there would always be enough that my sister had a dress and there was enough left over for me. So she would make mine the same. Then I've got the darker So Saffron, and I'm just going to go over a few of the lines to give it a little bit of depth. And go back over it with this lighter one just to blend it in. And you can see some little subtle colour changes in there. It's not too bright or anything, but you can tell there's different colours in there. Okay, and that's all the colouring that I'm going to do. So now I'm going to attach this to the Mossy Meadow piece that I have. Let's find my glue. Remember, when you're colouring with blends, it does go through. So if you want this and you want to be able to see the back of it or something, just be aware that you can see through it. But what you can do, if you want to, is put another piece the same on the back, and then you wouldn't see it. But mine I'm mounting on a different colour anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Okay. Oh, now what I should have done was the sand and everything. Let's use that ivory to do a little bit of sand. Should have done this before I glued it on. Okay, and then I'm going to go over with a little bit of this light balmy blue so that it looks like it's just in the water here. And there's always a little bit of water left on top of that sand. So I don't want it to be like a stripe of sand and a stripe of sea. But I'm just going to do these edges. And then I'll go back over those edges just with the blue. Okay, so that is the colouring finished this time. Let me find my paper. Okay, so this is going to go just on the front here, but I only want to attach this edge here. Okay, so you don't need to go over very far. Just make sure I go the right way though. I don't want to put too much on because I don't want it to be sticking onto my next layer down. And just make sure that this is straight. There we are. Now I have a bigger piece for on the back here that I cut out with just one of the larger stitched rectangles. So I'm just going to put that one in here as well. You could do some more stamping in there, that would look really pretty. And I just want to have some room for a sentiment that I want to write. So a little greeting and a little letter. I don't want to have stamping on it today. I'm just going to make sure that that's sort of in the middle. And then when it's closed, it looks like it's in the middle, and that it's straight. There we go. Okay. And then remember that other little piece that we did? I'm going to put that on the second page, so here. Now my circle is quite large, it only just fits. You could cut this out smaller, but you won't see it until you open the card. So it's a bit of a sort of a surprise greeting. Now, if you don't have the stitched circles, you can easily do them with punches or your rectangles just cut on your paper trimmer. And in fact, the first one, when I was practicing, I did actually use the 2 1/4 inch punch, and I did my backing on the 2 1/2 inch punch. And that sort of fits better. But because I was using the stitched framelits, I wanted them to all be stitched. And of course, the punches don't give you a stitched framelit. So, there. Now, that's the little trifold card for today. And it's really pretty to look at and see the picture, but it is a nice surprise when you open it and you've got that other little greeting there. And then you could also put more card here if you wanted to do more writing, or on the back. But I just like the look of seeing all this DSP doing the work for you. So there we are. That's my card for today. I will quickly try and put it onto YouTube, and I will see you all again on Sunday. Take care at the moment, everybody. And for those of you in self-isolation or on lockdown, just lots of thoughts and hugs and prayers for all of you. Be kind to everybody. Bye-bye.